From the moment I touched down in Nassau, Bahamas, I knew this place would be anything but ordinary. With a rental car and a sense of adventure, I set off to uncover some of the main island's best-kept secrets. Picture this: secluded beaches with waters so clear they almost seem unreal. The eerie remnants of an old slave plantation hiding stories from the past, and an underwater snorkeling trail that brought me face to face with art beneath the waves. But what I discovered was even more incredible than I imagined, because I got to see so many different things all in one day on this adventure-packed island. Want to see it for yourself? Then check this out. Here we go. Okay, got in my rental car. I got a good deal, I'll say. $50 for the day in an expensive country like Bahamas. But oh God, car smells like dog. AC doesn't work. I mean, I guess don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? Okay, just deal with the dog smell. Wet beach dog smell. And the part that I'm most worried about is that I'm sitting on the wrong side. Well, for Americans, it's the wrong side. And I'm gonna be driving on the opposite side of the road that I'm used to driving on. So I've told my mom the name of the local hospital. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so just checking out some of the beaches around this actually quite large island, Nassau Island, also known as New Providence Island here in the Bahamas. Today, right now I'm at Jaws Beach, which is clear on the other side of the island from the capital of Nassau. You either need a tour to get here or you need to rent a car to get here. But it's a well-known beach, and I'm gonna go check out the beautiful water and see why. All right, looks like someone beat me to this beach. Some people were definitely partying here last night, but then, whoa. So my first impression of this beach pretty much left me speechless, so I hope you forgive me if I just turn off any music and be quiet for a few minutes and let you just enjoy how crystal clear and perfect this beach is. I want to give you just a small taste of what I was able to experience in real life. So remember that I have not done any type of color correction on this video. This water is exactly what you're seeing. It looks almost like it was AI generated. It's just so incredible. Not cold, basically almost lukewarm, and not even that early in the morning, and it's just me. So I was kind of pinching myself at how amazing the Bahamas are. Having been so many places that I have in the Mexican Caribbean and all over Latin America, I really didn't realize that there was a place this picture perfect and this secluded, basically right off the coast of Florida and a really short flight. Boy, this is a beautiful beach. Look at the color of that water. No seaweed, a beautiful backdrop. It's 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekday. Some people are starting to arrive, but up until now, I pretty much had it to myself. I wasn't really gonna go swimming yet this early because I have a lot of other stuff to do today, but I absolutely cannot resist. So I'm gonna go in. Look at, how could you resist that? First of all, it feels not even cold at all. It's beautiful, beautiful water. This looks like what the Caribbean beaches in Mexico used to look like before the seaweed. Look at this. Woo. Jaws Beach, Nassau Island, Bahamas. I can only imagine what these sun-kissed islands would have felt like when Columbus and the early Spanish explorers, even the early British, landed here, coming from a place, whether it's England or Spain, which has winters, having kind of this endless June must have seemed a little bit like the Garden of Eden, a little bit too good to be true. Too bad they were too focused on gold, because the natural beauty was the real source of wealth, right? I'm gonna get in my bathing suit. I don't even have sunblock on the upper half of my pale body, but I'm going in. It's too secluded and wonderful and delicious not to. I'm gonna take you in the water with me. Come on, let's go. Somehow, some of the footage that I took at this beach was set in slow motion. So I was originally gonna delete it, but it just looked so amazing, this slow motion footage, that I decided to keep it for you. Really nice temperature of water. Does not chill me at all, sprinkling it over my body. After being there for a while, some other people showed up, including a family, but there was so much room that it still didn't feel like a tourist location at all. And listen to, you can almost hear the molecules of water hitting your body, and you can see through the water as if it were pure crystal. See your shadow perfectly in the water. You could spin around in circles. There would be no one near you. You can spend a lot of money staying in resorts on really beautiful beaches, but I don't know, something about me, like I normally don't really like resorts because no matter how beautiful the location is, to me it kind of ruins it being around so many other people. So I'd almost rather do more footwork on my own and find off the beaten path kind of places, because to me, if you're gonna spend that kind of money, oh wow, there's like a school of minnows. Let's see if I can catch it. Nope, I missed it. The school of minnows was beautiful and fleeting, like many things in life, right? Again, sorry about the wind. I hope you can hear me. Obviously I can't bring my microphone out here, but this really wasn't a place that I had planned to come, but I'm just really glad I did, because like I said, there's so many beautiful beaches on the Bahamas, on this main island of Nassau, New Providence, Bahamas. But like if you go to Atlantis, you're gonna have tons of people, and there's only one annoying kid here out of the three. You go to this end of the beach, you don't even hear the annoying kid. I mean, it's really nice, really, really nice out of the way. And I'm getting the feeling, although I don't know much about the Bahamas, but I'm really getting the feeling that there's a lot of beaches that are out of the way. So if you can go through the effort to get to them, you could probably have some gorgeous pieces of paradise to yourself. This is just me trying to give you guys a good view and an approximation of the experience. I guess I think I'm a mermaid or something. It was hard to get out of the water. I kind of just wanted to chill there all day. I'm gonna give you guys another few seconds just to kiss this beach goodbye. Okay, not gonna lie, that was absolutely 1000% stunning. I could spend all day here easily. Didn't budget the time for that. There's so much else that I want to see on this very short trip to the mainland island of the Bahamas. I knew nothing about it before I came here, so let's go check out some heritage and history. It's so funny to me how young British people talk like adults. It's hilarious. I think sometimes people see me on the beach and they're like, with their kids, and they're like, God, I want to be doing that. Why did I have kids? Well, the trade-off is I really scrimp and save. Gotta be really cheap and frugal to travel all the time. It's not a cushy life. So then I drove my little rental car all the way to Clifton Heritage National Park, and the main draw here is a Loyalist plantation with ruins of slave quarters. One of the more interesting things to see here is this banana hole. So it's a natural geological formation, but they would use it to grow bananas. This plantation was from the 18th century, and a Loyalist means Americans that were sent away when the United States became independent because they were loyal to Britain. It was kind of like a punishment, or just get them out of here and send them to a place that's still controlled by Britain. The architecture here is very similar to what you might see in the Carolinas, South Carolina, North Carolina, but almost all of this almost got destroyed. But there was pushback from the community, from different universities and different community groups. They wanted to build a gated community here, but instead this old plantation was saved, so you can see the real structures of a time gone by. This is a tamarind tree, and it was shown to us because it was something that was used by the natives and the slaves that lived there to provide a tasty food. We got to go inside some of the recreated slave cabins as well. There's the tamarind, by the way, the actual item itself. So you can see it up there in the tree. But we got to go inside the actual slave cabins. Now, my first thought was, I've had some Airbnbs that were not as nice as this, but that definitely doesn't in any way, of course, justify the fact that these cabins were for people that did not want to be here and were being forced to provide labor and resources, and the profits go to somebody else. But I really, really liked being able to visit a place like this because I think it's so important to have a sense of history, and sometimes you can't just get that from a book. And also, another thing to keep in mind is the likely amount of people that would have been forced to live in one room. Next, at this same national park, I walked down towards the water. And what a miraculous sight, just being able to see this water from a little bit higher up. Absolutely breathtaking. What a plantation. Holy wow, Bahamas water is beautiful. No wonder this is such an expensive island and there's like so many elite rich communities. This water is stunning. I'm at Clifton Heritage National Park, which has some historic sites of former slave plantations, but it's also on the water. It's like, wow. And it is literally stunning. Stunning. I've been to great beaches. This is stunning. So if you walk a little ways down this beautiful rocky beach, you get to the place where you get to go snorkeling and see an underwater art trail on a guided snorkeling tour. My guide was awesome, so here we go into the water. I brought something to cover my phone with so that I could take pictures underwater so you can see that it's just as clear as it is above the water. I don't snorkel a lot, so I wasn't really used to it. It was weird like having something on my face, but you start out in this shallow spot and then you go out deeper and you get to see artworks that they placed underwater with fish swimming around them. Very, very cool. My guide waited patiently for me as I kept diving in and out to see these sculptures under the deep. And that's a piece of the plane from the movie Jaws. You see some coral reef. It's really beautiful to see with your own eyes. Actually, you get to see it a little bit better than I am, than I was there because I was looking through goggles. Imagine doing all this in one day. A school of fish came to join me at one point. I think this reef is a little bit stressed, so it's not as colorful as some reefs around the world, but it was still a wonderful experience, and just right there off the shore at Clifton Heritage National Park. You could see people yachting and boating off in the distance. It's pretty cool. Right now I have the whole beach to myself here at Clifton Heritage National Park. Not sure which beach this is, but it's the one where you go snorkeling from. They have the snorkeling trail on it, and the water here is so warm. Sand is so powdery soft. It's really nice. I'm kind of sore because I'm not used to snorkeling, and I tried to do it with snorkel goggles, which I'm not used to because I normally use swim goggles where I can breathe out of my nose. So my nose is confused. I swallowed a lot of water. And then I tried flippers, and I'm not used to those either, so I ended up just kind of doing freestyle, but I think I'm gonna be sore. I think I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. That's a yacht out there, having fun. What do you think about the Bahamas so far? This is the main island, remember. And the day keeps getting even better. If you keep walking past the snorkeling underwater trail, you get to another completely secluded beach that was used in a movie. Welcome to your own private flipper beach. This is definitely one of the most beautiful beaches that I've ever been to. I don't know how I managed to get it to myself. I guess the trick to do in the Bahamas, well, I guess you come to an island that gets a lot of cruise ships and come when the tours aren't where you're going. This is called Flipper Beach. It's in the Clifton Heritage National Park. I've been to a lot of beaches. I've been to Tahiti. I've been to beautiful beaches in Mexico and Caribbean. This is definitely one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever been to, and I have never had a beach like this to myself that I can really remember. I think I got really lucky today. Look at this. So it's about $15 or $20 to get into the park. I think it's 20 some if you want the tour. And then it's another $60 if you want to do a snorkeling tour, which I did. I actually enjoyed it. The tour guide was great. His name was Javon. Really nice, really informed, really educated, and really passionate about the area. Then you can spend the rest of the day till 3:30 or so here in this national park. A lot of movies were filmed here, like Jaws Beach, Flipper Beach, in the 80s, and the times like that, because it was a really good film location because it was really secluded. It didn't have even the local population, let alone the amount of cruise ships that it does now. The reason it wasn't such a big city at the time was because prior to the 80s, according to him, a lot of the families lived on what are called the family islands, or the out islands, which are the islands that are not the main island. And because of the jobs in tourism, as those jobs started to increase, people started moving for the opportunities into the city. And now Nassau is, I think maybe 300,000 people, something like that. It never used to be anywhere near that big. But hey, it sure seems pretty secluded today. What do you say about paradise? What do you say that can add to this? Nothing. Beaches by the big resorts like Atlantis and Riu Palace, that's on what's called Paradise Island. And I want to check those beaches out too if I have time, but I'm kind of wondering right now, how could they possibly be any better than this? Like, I'm here by myself at Flipper Beach. I have the whole place to myself. I can lay down my towel, lay in the sun. I can lay in the trees in the shade for free. I can go in the almost bathwater ocean. Could be here with a friend, could be here with a lover, you could be here with a family. You could spend the day here and not be bothered, it looks like, by anybody. So I have no idea how Paradise Island over there closer to downtown Nassau could be any better than this. I just have no idea. Just seems like endless blue. This spot's really beautiful because it's an art exhibit, and the artist has basically done an artistic interpretation and recreation of women, probably slave women, that would have watched their husbands or loved ones going out to sea and coming back. And if it wasn't necessarily slave women, it was still women that were watching with that sense of longing. So that's my $3? Okay, thank you so much. Have a good one. Oh my gosh, that was really funny. So finally I found my way to the last of the talked up secret beaches on the main island of the Bahamas. The locals call it Nassau Island. It's actually, the official name is New Providence Island. But one of the nicest beaches is this, and it's called Cabbage Beach. And it's actually on the little island off of the main downtown of Nassau, and the little island is called Paradise Island, and I can see why. This area is much more built up than the other secluded beaches that I went on earlier in this journey, but it has its own charm and beauty because, as you can see, it's wavier and it's a little bit, it's deeper, and it's just different. The way the waves hit the shore, the way they create such a broad and contrasting beach. The colors are a little bit different. The way they hit the sand is different. It's really something, in my opinion, for the eyes to marvel at. And this is actually a public access beach. It was a little tricky for me to find, but it's there. So you can stay in one of the resorts. You can stay in Atlantis, which is basically on and near this beach. But this actual spot, which is so incredibly beautiful, is a public access beach in Nassau, Bahamas. I have never been to the Bahamas before in my life. I've always thought it would be really expensive and not really worth it because it wouldn't be any better than some of the places that I've already been. So it was expensive, but not more expensive than the US, and it was better. The hospitality is really honestly better. It's their forte in the Bahamas. I really felt welcome and treated really well everywhere that I went. The water and the sand is just glistening and fantastic. If you could afford to go to the Bahamas, and even if you can't, you can find a way to make it work, stay a little bit further from the beach, I really think it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience that you should indulge in. I've heard that all of the islands of the Bahamas are amazing, but just going to the main island, you can see so much and experience so many fantastic beaches that alone could be something to cross off of your bucket list. Thank you, Bahamas. Well, that Paradise Beach was very nice. It's actually called Cable Beach on Paradise Island here in Nassau, Bahamas, main island. But yeah, it was really pretty, really beautiful blue, but pretty wavy if you like that, if that's your thing. I actually am just so glad that I ended up going out towards like Clifton Heritage Park, because those beaches were so calm and so beautiful, and like I was either the only one there or very few people there, just totally different vibe. And there was shade. That's something that's also amazing to try to, like, you can't always find on beaches, is shade, and there was natural shade at those beaches out there. So I just am really glad I made the decision to rent a car and head out to the other side of the island, less populated. And I'm actually looking forward to going to these other two islands that I'm going to on this trip, because there's going to be even less people and hopefully some really blissful beaches. Night is setting in here on this beautiful island here in Nassau, Bahamas. And tomorrow I'm really excited because I'm going to the reason I came to the Bahamas for, to the outlying island called San Salvador, where Columbus and some of the first Europeans ever to set eyes on the Americas landed and saw this idyllic paradise for the first time. See you tomorrow. It's an adventure you're not gonna wanna miss. As the sun sets on this incredible day on Nassau Island, I can't help but feel like I've only scratched the surface of what the Bahamas has to offer. That's why the adventure isn't over yet. In my next video, I'm taking you to one of the most exclusive islands in the world, Harbor Island, Bahamas. There, I'll be exploring the legendary Pink Sands Beach, a place so stunning it's been hailed as one of the best beaches on the planet. You won't want to miss this. All you have to do is click right here. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me if you've been to the Bahamas yet and what you thought of it.